Then basically you come to the evaluation phase, where you evaluate all different sorts of ideas based on the cost saving or based on the function improvement, or it could be some other parameter. So you evaluate what are the ideas have come up. Then you go to the development phase, where you choose the best ideas. So there could be a list of 40, 50 ideas to reduce the cost or to increase the function, but you choose the best ideas out of those, and basically you present those ideas, present those cost savings functions, or also it could be there could be some investment requirement from the management. So you present these ideas to the top management or to the people who are making the decision. And when you get a green signal from the people, then you can go and implement those ideas. So this is roughly a complete process of VAV. Let's now take example so you can understand a little bit more how the VAV works. So I have shown a very simple part here. It is a simple cylindrical part, shown a cross section here. So what you can see is that there is a back cylinder, or the back side of the part which has the external diameter or the outer diameter of D1, capital D1, and to the right the diameter of the cylinder or the outer diameter of the cylinder is capital D2. Again, on to the left there is a hole or a bore of small diameter D1, and to the right there is a hole or a bore of a small diameter D2. So this is a very simple part, just for example I have taken here. Now let's say that we have a VAVE project of this part, and the scope of this project is we have to reduce the manufacturing cost of this part. So now let's start with this project. Now we have a clear-cut objective or clear-cut scope that there is a part existing which has these kind of features or dimensions, and our target is to reduce the manufacturing cost of the part. Now let's see how we can approach this case study. Now, the first very simple option is you can do a bar machining. What I mean by bar machining is you take a cylindrical rod or a bar. I have shown the cross section of that. So you have a cylindrical or circular bar, or it could be made up of any material. It could be, depending upon this part, it could be metal, steel, or stainless steel. It can be anything. And what you do basically is you remove the unwanted material from this bar to get this shape, final shape. So basically what you do is the regions which are shown by blue, you remove the material from these regions. And when you remove these materials from the blue region, basically you get this part, finished part, what we see here. But now all of you or most of you are mechanical engineers, you can easily understand that this is not very cost sensitive or cost effective solution. The simple reason being, you are buying a circular bar or a rod, and you are removing so much of material from that bar, and basically you are just throwing away this material. So this material is a waste, and which is nothing but the cost. You are wasting out so much of cost in this process. So what you can do better than this to reduce the cost, or to reduce the cost of manufacturing process, maybe you can go for casting and forging option and then do the machining. So what you can do is, instead of using a circular bar, you can make a casting part or a forging part which looks something like this. Now the moment you can see this, you can immediately understand that here we are saving a lot of material from the wastage, because from the casting or the forging process we already got almost 70 to 80% of the final product what we need. So what we do is basically we remove some 20% or 15 to 20% of the material from this raw forging or raw casting, and then what we get is the final product. So when we compare these two processes, let's think from value analysis or value engineering aspect. What has happened in the bar machining is we are wasting a lot of material. That means the cost is increasing, but ultimately the function is same. We are getting the same product what we see here. So we are increasing the cost but not the function, so value is decreasing. But in the second case, we are reduced the material scrap or the material wastage drastically. That means the cost of manufacturing has reduced in this second case, and definitely the value of the product has increased, because we still have the same function, we still get the same product, but we need less material wastage. But now let's have a look from different perspective. Now our scope was to reducing the manufacturing cost of the part. Now we have seen that the bar machining, it is easy process. First of all, it is a big advantage that we can easily manufacture using this process because we just have to buy a ready-made bar from the market. But it can be suitable for the prototypes also. So when I say prototypes, let's say you want this part in 5 or 10 numbers only. But for 5 or 10 numbers, this could be beneficial process because it's very easy and less time consuming. But what are the disadvantages? It needs, or it has large material wastage, and it has high per piece cost. But what is the benefit on casting and forging? It has minimum material wastage, but it is suitable for mass production. So let's say when you want to produce this part in 1000 quantity or 2000 quantity, then only this process becomes suitable. If you want to make 5 or 10 numbers of part, then making casting and forging will never be beneficial. Why? Because casting and forging needs higher initial investment. So you need to invest on the casting pattern, casting tool, or the forging tool, forging die. You need a lot of investment for that. And it also needs long development time. So now again, when we say reduce manufacturing cost of the part, it depends. If you want to make prototype, then bar machining is the best choice from the VAVE aspect. But if you want to have a mass production, then casting and forging is the best option because it's cheap. For 1000 or 2000 or even millions of quantity, it is cheap. So remember the scope. When we define the scope, we should also say if it is for the prototype or mass production or batch production, because that can also change our strategy. Let's see some more in detail of the same case study. What we have seen is that in the bar machining, we have a problem of high material wastage. So we need something in which we can have less material wastage. But in the casting and forging, even though there is less material wastage, there is a long time and the long cost involved. So is there any solution where we have less time, less cost, but less material wastage also? Now this is where VAVE becomes more important, that you go one step further in thinking process and think about what can be done even better. Let's take this example. Why do you want to make this part as a one single part? Why you cannot divide it into two separate parts and then join them together using a welding process? Now what has happened here is suddenly the left part, you can always do a bar machining because then the material wastage is almost negligible because you can buy a small bar and remove only material from this section. Or even better, you can buy a ready-made tube which has the same dimensions and same hole from the market. You need not even manufacture it. And even for this part, now you can do maybe a bar machining because even though material wastage is there, the material wastage happening here and here is completely eliminated, which was there in the bar machining option. And in this option, you need not even, have a lot of cost investment or a long time of development. So this could be an even better option. Why not another option? Why do you also need a welding process? Why don't you provide a threads on this part? So an internal thread on this part and an external thread on this part, and just thread these two parts together. So this is even better option solution. Let's see some of the benefits again. In the welding option, as I said, you can use a standard tube. So you can use a standard part. And now you have also flexibility in the dimension. So in this part, it can be D1, it can be D2, it can be D3, it can be D4, it can be anything. Then you're not dependent on dimension. You can just make this part separately and join this part together. But in other bar machining option or in the casting option, if your D1 becomes D2, then suddenly you cannot use that part. Or suddenly the casting or the forging method is completely waste because you cannot change the dimension in that. But here you can change the dimensions D1 to D2 to D3 to D4 or anything. But there you are adding one assembly process here because you need to join these two together. In earlier option, you can directly use the part, but here you have one more assembly process. And always there is a risk of welding defects. So there are some disadvantages or some limitations. But in the threading option, what has happened is the flexibility in dimension, again same, you can use D2, D3, D4. Now think about one more case. Let's say there is some damage to this part at this region. Now in the welding option, you cannot do anything. You have to completely throw away the welded part or the joint part. But in threaded option, let's say there is a damage here. you can remove only this part and replace it with a new part. So you have reusability option now suddenly. So what has happened is you not only reduce the cost, but you have one more additional feature that move the parts from each other and combine them each other again. So you have reusability. Of course, there is increased assembly time, and also there is a risk of loosening of threads. But I would say this is the best option among all, that you divide it into two parts and thread them together. So this is a classical case study that by which different ways you can achieve the reduction in the manufacturing cost. Also, you can increase the feature of. Now let's have a look at what is the different evolution happened in this field of VAVE. As you can see, VAVE is not a standalone department or function anymore. Now it is also integrated with benchmarking. It is integrated with should costing, and also it is integrated with different methodologies like QFD or TIS methodology and many others. Quick view at benchmarking, should costing, and TIS. What do we mean by that? So what is benchmarking? Benchmarking is nothing but a process in which we compare our product or one's product in terms of performance or its work process against its competitors or against different industries. So as I said earlier, you can always compare your product with your competitor product. Now, when we are doing this comparison, there could be different parameters. You can do design benchmarking. So you can compare your design and the competitor's design. You can also compare the function or the performance benchmarking. You can compare how your product is performing or functioning and how competitor's product is performing or functioning. You can also compare the processes involved in the manufacturing. So as I said, let's take off example of earlier part. Maybe you are making that part by a bar machining, but your competitor is making that part by threading option. So definitely competitor has a better advantage because he is having less cost in the manufacturing. So there could be process benchmarking as well. What is benchmarking? It is basically a wake-up call. It basically shows what is the gaps your product has in terms of feature and performance and cost compared to your competition. It always helps you sustain the competitive edge, and it makes you to adapt to the changes in the technology and customer demands. Now, most of you might be aware that we have very classical examples of Nokia and Kodak. So what has happened in Nokia and Kodak is that they did not adapt to the change in the technology. So basically, they did not involve themselves into the benchmarking process. They did not see what their competitors are doing or what market needs. So Nokia, they did not benchmark in technology and did not come up with smartphones. And Kodak, similarly, they did not adapt to the change in the market and they did not come up with digital photography. And because of these two reasons, these two companies, we see they went a big loss and we don't see anything more. Of course, Nokia is now there. It is taken over by another company. But this was the loss of company because they did not do the benchmarking. But we have good example as well, which all of you might be aware that almost all the major auto players or the auto companies, they are doing extremely high benchmarking and they are all are coming up with electric vehicles. So all these big players, General Motors or Chryslers or even Mercedes-Benz or even in India, Tata Motors or Mahindra, they are working extremely hard to produce electric vehicles. They are moving away from their technology, which was the diesel or the petrol based technology. So all these companies are adapting to the change, and this is exactly what we need to do in benchmarking process. Now, should costing. What is should costing? Should costing is nothing but it is a method in which you can generate the real-time cost, or you can predict what should be the ideal cost of the part or the sub-assembly, or it can be any assembly as well. So basically, should costing helps you to evaluate the design. What is the design? What is the part? Versus what is the cost of that product or what is the cost of that design. And also it helps to estimate the cost of incremental features. So what I mean by that, I will explain you in the next slide. So on the broad, there are 3 steps in the should costing. The first is the input stage, where you give the inputs, you give the CAD model to that software. So for the should costing, we have different softwares available. There are softwares from a priori company. There are softwares available from Impro Value. So in these softwares, you can give the input as CAD model, then you can give input as what is the factory of that manufacturing part, then what is the material of the part, what is the quantity, what is the machine rate, what is the labor rate, and you can give all the inputs. Then basically should costing software, it does all the processing, costing process. So it calculates or it estimates how it can be made, how that part can be made, how long it will take to manufacture that part, and how much material will be used, and how much cost will be taken. And finally, you get output as how much is the cost of that part, what are the cost drivers, and what are the different scenarios. Let's look at one example. So we will take the same example earlier. So if you have a bar machining as your part, so you basically give input as the final product. This product CAD model, you give it as an input to the software. Then you specify material of that part. So let's say you specify steel material or maybe aluminum material. And then you mention who is the supplier. It could be XYZ supplier or ABC supplier. Then basically the software does all the processing. So it already understands what is the raw material required for this part. It could be a raw bar. Then it does the machining time calculation, how much machining time required to do this part. It determines how much material wastage is gone. Also, it decides how much labor cost is required, how much tooling cost is required. And finally, you get the output that how much cost is required per piece. What are the cost driving features? So when I say cost driving features, maybe the a priori can say that because of this diameter D1, you have cost of 10 rupees. But if you reduce diameter D1 from D2, which is a smaller diameter, you might get 5 rupees as the cost. So you can decide whether do you really need D1 or D2 is also okay. So you can decide, do you want manufacturing cost to be 10 rupee or 5 rupee? In connection to that, how much is D1 you can make or the diameter you can make. So this software helps us to decide that. Similarly, in the casting example, you have to give casting model as well as the machining model. And basically the same process happens and you get the cost of per piece part, cost driving features, and so on. So this is about should costing. The last point is TRIZ methodology. So TRIZ is actually methodology which has come from the Russian region. And basically it's an acronym for, for a word I think I cannot pronounce or nobody can pronounce here. But it is an acronym of TRIZ. But in simple English, it is a theory of inventive problem solving. So what happens in the TRIZ methodology is basically you understand your problem and then you shift that your problem to a general problem. So what does this methodology believes is that whatever your problem you are facing, somebody somewhere has already worked on that problem and he has already solved it. So you need not to reinvent that solution again. You can transfer your problem to more general problem and then find out more general solution about that problem and then apply that general solution to your specific solution. Let's have a look at example of TRIZ methodology. Now we all know this product. This is a kind of a razor. Mostly it's used in salons. We can see in the shaving. Now the problem or the function of this product is only related to this part of the product, which is the sharp blade. And we don't have any problem or any function associated in the handle part. Now the problem is, let's say the sharp blade is broken or the sharpness has gone, it has become blunt. Then we have to throw away the complete product. Even though this part is non-functional, we have to throw away it completely. Now what TRIZ methodology says is that when you have this kind of product where the value is happening only at one part of the product and other part is not having any value, you apply a general solution which is called as segmentation. So basically you segment the product into two, where you separate the value on one side and non-value on other side. And we see already that has happened in the market, that this product has already gone through segmentation process and the value is separated from the non-value part. So the handle is always the same. We only change the blade. So there is a general problem, general solution, segmentation, and you apply it to your problem. Similarly, another example, if you remember in the past, we used to have these kind of chargers. Now here the value is at the end where you actually have the charging pin. And also the value is here where you connect to the power cable or the power station. Again, apply the same principle, use the segmentation. So if there is a problem in any pin, we have to throw away complete product. Or if there is a problem in the plug, still we have to throw away the complete product. But when you apply the segmentation principle, you get this kind of product where your value is separated. So if there is any problem in the cable, you just throw away the cable. You don't throw away the plug. Similarly, if there is any problem in the plug, you just throw away the plug, not the complete wire. So this is basically a TRIZ methodology. Now coming to the last part of it, what is the career path and the career or the job opportunities? I think most of you or all of you must be aware that the large number of opportunities are available in VAV basically because increase in the competition. You take any industry, any organization, there is huge competition. And always there is a pressure of profitability. And every company, they want to stay ahead in the market. So there is always a scope for VAV. There is always a need for the companies to reduce the cost and increase the value. Not only that, many industries now they have a dedicated benchmarking teams, benchmarking functions, and they have dedicated should costing teams, should costing functions. They have these teams as dedicated teams now. And the most important part is now VAV engineer is integral part of all the processes. It is an integral part of new product development. He is a part of sustenance engineering, and also he is a part of innovation teams. So you see there is extremely high demand for VAV engineers nowadays, basically because of the cost driver or the competition and the profitability and to stay ahead in the market.